All right, and welcome back to another episode of the AdHero podcast. This is your host, Eric Rivers, with my compatriots,
Matthew Olivieri.
And Gino Giovanni.
Right on, and today we've got a very special guest for you. I'm super amped for this. In fact, we all are. And we've got Chris Delgado. Say hello, Chris. Welcome to everything.
It's coming all the way out from Miami, Florida. This podcast is going coast to coast.
Thanks for staying up with us, man.
Yeah, thanks for staying up for us. It's like 4 o'clock out here. He's like, guys, I had to miss dinner with my family. Thanks a lot.
I know, right? Hey, in our little pregame, he said that he's got time, and we're gonna milk you for all we can, man. So yeah, I mean, Chris is a man who doesn't need introduction from us. You've been all over the place. For our listeners and now for our viewers, since we're recording this and it'll be rippled out, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you've been, what you're doing, and where you're headed?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned before, born on the West Coast. I still think West Coast is the best coast.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's gonna be shots fired for somebody later.
Born, little inland empire, San Bernardino County, little town called Victorville, California. Actually started in fast food at In&Out Burger. Started cleaning toilets, wiping tables, working myself up. There's a little competition that we don't really tell. I kind of skip over it, but my brother had worked for In-N-Out for 4 years prior to me getting hired. And so when I got hired, I think the first competition or the drive in me was I wanted to pass them up in like promotions. And so, and I did, of course, because he was lazy. So it wasn't too bad in doing that. But yeah, man, started in fast food, went to the corporate office, worked with the travel and events and marketing department for a lot of things. In-N-Out just does amazing things for their company and their employees. And then they do, they were in the middle of expansion to Texas, Oregon, now Colorado, and then they're continuing and expanding in their existing states. So it was great. One thing that I, don't mention, but establishing the relationship with Caesar's Palace, that now there's an In-N-Out Burger on the Strip, and one of those things that like it was a big pivotal moment with In-N-Out, but for me, I don't want to say I forget. I just forget to bring it up, I guess.
No, I mean, did you have any bearing or any touch points for any of In-N-Out's success and growing that way? I mean, kind of future casting here as far as what you're capable of and all you do. But
I think deepening the relationships. So like, Staples Center was one of my biggest clients as far as like promotions and events and incentives that we were doing with employees. And so that, I think there's already an established relationship. In-N-Out owns the largest suite in Staples Center, but as far as like, meeting all the executives of AEG and, them, appreciating and understanding the business of In-N-Out, I think those were key things that I brought to the table, which, I've applied in my personal life and it has furthered me, just genuinely getting to know people. But, I had a big company name behind me, so it made it a lot easier to get in the door and talk to those people and spending money with them. Of course, they want to, But yeah, I would say that was one of the biggest things that I could see. In-N-Out didn't do business with Caesars Entertainment whatsoever. And so when I went to the corporate office, there was an ability for us to open up those relationships, those channels of communication. And please don't get it right. I didn't sign the contract to put In-N-Out Burger on the Strip, but I think having those communications and then spending millions of dollars with Caesars Entertainment made those conversations a lot easier for when our executive team wanted to put a store on the Strip, and every restaurant around the area protested that store because of sales.
Really?
Caesars really had their back to say, no, this is something that we want to do and is unique to the area.
So, Chris, can I, just to make sure our listening audience kind of gets the full scope of your background and kind of what you bring to the table. So that's awesome that you work your way up from the ground, from the bottom floor, right? And you're doing these huge conversations and deals. Kind of fast forward to 2019, and maybe when you look back on everything you've done in the last 8 to 10 years, where are you at right now, and kind of like how does all this marketing have taken you from one career to the next? And you had a huge role in a very prominent sales education trainer named Grant Cardone, and maybe you can touch upon that for our listening audience to kind of know the full scope of your background about what ninja hero AdHero skills you possess.
No, I mean, you know, underneath it all, one is obviously it's sales or selling yourself, but two, it's relationship building, and that's where I'm at right now. Like all the success, you know, in 2019, I actually just had this question asked to me this morning by a featured, like, what's the most amount of money that you made in one day? The truthful answer is $250,000 I made in less than 24 hours, and that was striking a big deal in partnership with Go Marketing, where they wired me my full salary up front, my full consulting fee. But
wow,
you know, with Cardone, with Tom, with In&Out, with my 7 different business partners that I have right now, at the core of it, it was relationship building, and that's where I'm at right now. Is furthering these companies' digital footprint through marketing, through partnerships, through strategic deals that we're doing. I have a meeting with the country of the Dominican Republic on Monday for Fit Tea. I don't know if you guys saw today, August 21st, Michael, one of my partners, is in New York City doing interviews, just announced that he's taken his CBD company Happy Tea public in January. So at the core of where I'm at today, between all the marketing, all the sales, all the events that I've ever done, what makes Chris Delgado, or what makes the success of Chris Delgado, is those genuine relationships that I've established. And just from our conversations, Matthew, like, I hope you can tell that I'm a genuine guy that has good intention behind what I'm trying to do and the advice I'm trying to give.
100%.
I gotta ask you, man, because in my conversation, getting to talk with you, I mean, I can tell you're a really down to earth guy, super chill. But I mean, dude, you're a veritable god of the game. Whether or not people will see it up front or anything like that. So I'm kind of curious. I mean, there's so many tactics out there, and all this omni-channel marketing and everything. What would you say has probably been kind of your go-to as far as relationship building, maybe even relationship maintenance, that you feel really does hold the most value as far as that goes?
I love talking about this. I talk about it, especially now with the I call it the age of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is cool. I was at an event the other day, and they're like, "Dude, I love selling stuff. I'm a salesman." And then it's like, no, like, there's digital marketing and you sell stuff, which makes it cool, I guess. The deepest thing right now is one, for me, like, digital marketing, whatever it might be, my relationship maintenance, like you mentioned, is I always give without expectation, and I always invest in the relationship, even when it comes at a cost to me. So, like, if Matthew, if I didn't know Matthew before, and he's like, you know what, there might be potential business, there might be even a consulting fee, there might be something that you may be able to do for my company, or I may be able to do for you. I know at the core of it, it's all a maybe, but I'm willing to get on a plane and fly to San Francisco, where you guys are at, and sit down with you guys for a day, and pay for my own hotel, and pay for my own flight. That comes at a cost to me, and even fly back and still pick up the phone when you guys call and say, "Hey, what's going on?" and not even expect to say, "Yo, I got a $100,000 contract on the table," or whatever it might be that I need help with. And I think that's what sets me apart from these young entrepreneurs that are growing. They try to go from knowledge to monetization so fast that they trip up on themselves. And for me, I spent the last 10 years, I spent over 18,000 hours in relationship building, in crafting my skill, in mastering what I'm good at now. That stuff comes out naturally. That being genuine person comes out naturally. And any relationship I have, I don't try to monetize that relationship whatsoever, because everything that I've ever done always has come natural to me and organically, and that's, I think, at the core of everything. It's because I've given without expectation, and I've never, like, I've been a good person, you know, like I've given people, you know, the keys of the kingdom and say, yo, have at it. You know, this is what I suggest you should do it, and this is the outcome you should have. And most people try to hoard those secrets, or, you know, in today's age, they're like, yo, you need to pay me $3,000 for mentorship. And I'm like,
yeah.
You do it, you try it, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, then you can pay me to try and do it. But, you know.
I want to get Gino's input on this because he's been our resident go-to guy as of late, just really diving into the whole psychology of sales and marketing on as far as that's concerned. I think a lot of the things you're saying right now are probably resonating with him in terms of relationship building rapport. And lately he's been really spreading that around the office, helping all of us to kind of remind ourselves that, you know, yeah, there's the Facebook ad, there's the Google ad, there's the Billboard ad you can put out there to start a conversation, right? But once that person engages with you, now you have this opportunity to be humanistic, is what I'm hearing from you. And I just want to see if what he's saying, if that's clicking with you, Gino, if you're kind of picking up a lot of that same tip, and maybe if you had any thoughts for Chris along those lines.
Yeah, actually, it's you just nailed it on the head, 100%. Mr. Delgado, actually, I have a question for you. You know, we didn't really get like an introduction exactly of like where you are right now. I'd like to know, for like our audience sake, where you're at now, and then where you see yourself going in the future, maybe like next few to 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm partnered, so I went from a 9-to-5 job to now partnered in over 7 companies that all do over $10 million a year, where one, they all pay me $250 grand, either a year, or more than half of them have paid me up front. So it's completely changed my life, it's completely changed my lifestyle, and now has given me equity in companies that, you know, some of them I didn't even know existed, but secondly, some of them are massive brands like Fit Tea, where they've been around for 7+ years, and they're a massive company, multi-million-dollar company in retail. And so, you know, where I see myself going in 5 years is just building upon that. Like, you know, I'll give you guys a little secret, a little tidbit, but
yeah,
you know,
please.
Michael and I are working on a product that will launch in less than 30 days, and we're going after retail for this product. And for me personally, like, I get emotional about it because I potentially have the chance to own a product that sits on Walmart shelves where my family used to shop at, because we were so poor to go to Target, or we were so poor to go to other places. So, like, for me, that, you know, when we talk about the investments of relationship, I've invested so much into my relationship with Fit Tea, Happy Tea, and personally Michael, where, you know, I've spent time and money with this person, and again, with no expectation of any of this, and the fact that he's come to me with an opportunity to partner 50-50 with him on a project, to then also have that potential product go into major retailers across America, and then one day I get to call my mom and say, that's your son's product. Like, that's the high level shit I'm talking about for these young entrepreneurs. Is if you just took the time to invest into people and be a human being and a genuine person at the end of the day, you know, the man upstairs is going to open up those doors a lot bigger than you ever thought. I always knew I was going to make 6 figures. I was making 6 figures when I was 19 years old. But I would never, if you looked at me 10 years ago and said, Chris, one day you're going to be part of a company, and eventually you're going to have products in shelves all across America, and you're going to be the co-founder of that product, I would have been like, that's not even on my radar. I'm doing advanced marketing for In&Out Burger.
Dude, I could kiss you for what you just said, because that is amazing on so many different levels. And also, and I don't know if I should say this, I'm ripple this out, kind of goes against the grain, but as it stands, you didn't take the traditional route for the education track, right?
No. I graduated high school right when the economy took a shit in like 2009, and that's another thing I can talk hours about. How if you take the entrepreneur now that's 18, 19, 20, 21, even 24 and below that's doing digital marketing or that's doing e-com, drop shipping, whatever it might be, you go back 10 years when the economy crashed, these people were 8, 9, 10, 11. They had no idea.
Yeah.
They haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
I was 17 watching my father, who bought his dream home, lose his job and then lose the home. So yeah, I didn't take the traditional route in education. I graduated with a 4.3 GPA, third in my class.
All right.
I went to college for a semester, and at the core of it, I was like, I can apply all my energy and focus into something that was In-N-Out. I just got a job with In-N-Out, and they make great money. I was full time with them, and I was like, I can really make something of this, and so I decided to drop out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I had a plan. I was going to become a manager. I was going to go to corporate. I was going to do all this stuff. But I always betted against myself. Like, I know Chris Delgado is capable of doing X, Y, and Z. And if I can do that in my job, then I'm going to succeed. And that's exactly what has happened over the last 10 years is I've always just betted against myself, and I've always won. And that's the scariest risk that people won't take is they won't bet against themselves in any situation. They think they're going to fail.
Do people ever pay you to go speak?
100%. Wait, this podcast isn't paid?
We'll discuss that in the show notes now.
Oh, actually, you know what? I do have one question. This kind of doesn't really go with marketing, but since we're on the college tip, and actually there are some famous speakers. I won't mention their names right now, but they do mention how going to college is irrelevant these days, especially for those who have the mindset like yourself to go out and pursue their dreams. What do you say to those people right now who are ready to either not attend college or actually drop out, like a few of us did?
No, it's so simple. It's not even about the mindset of these kids attending college or not attending college. The world has changed drastically. And I was actually talking to my wife about this last week about education, just in general. And I said, what I do today, I didn't need geometry. I didn't need to know invisible numbers. I didn't need to know, certain things even in high school to do my job today. And just as digital marketing, has come about, the education today and in high school and in college is so irrelevant on the practices of what businesses need today. Businesses need revenue. Businesses need new streams of income, which is why when we talk about marketing, why we ran 15 different funnels for one product, because these are 15 different streams of revenue for one thing. And if you did that, and if you have 30 products and did that you'd have over 500 different streams of revenue for just 30 different products. And so when people go to school to for liberal arts or I don't even know what people go to school for because I didn't go to school.
Yeah, that's what
even just high school. Like when you're in high school and my teacher's talking about Christopher Columbus, why is that relevant today? Understanding the history of the United States is important and where we began and exploration, but there's so many factors of financing, taxes. Did you know you need 3.5% to put down on a home? People don't know these things. Or how about in different states, for example, Florida, the first 50,000 you make in your business is not taxable. So, like these encourage entrepreneurship, these encourage business building, which create jobs, which stimulates an economy that is not being taught in school. And I think if we look at the educational system, whether it's college or high school, and we look at things that are relevant. I remember my teacher would say you can't carry a calculator in your pocket for the rest of your life. You're absolutely right, you can't. I carry a supercomputer in my pocket that gives me the answers to the universe of anything that I ever want. And there's certain topics in school that I think waste and don't encourage students to fulfill their dreams. And I think there's a lot of things that the education system is failing, especially students today. Now, we didn't know when I was in high school that you'd have a supercomputer in your pocket, but we know that now.
Yeah.
And we only know technology is getting stronger, and yet the educational system hasn't even changed, and the internet's just getting bigger and more powerful.
So you're harping on something really interesting here, and it's kind of on the theme of keeping up. So there's several parts I want to ask you about, kind of going back into just the influencer space as well as the funnels, and then just kind of how everything still works together, especially for any new entrepreneurs or small business owners, anyone just starting out. So let's kind of work backwards. For the funnels, for starters, that's super huge. I know ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson and the whole crowd and everything. Were you pretty much there for the beginning of that? Did you kind of work a tangent to that crowd, or was it just kind of you fell onto the software and got it going, or did you build funnels externally?
Yeah, no, actually never, those things they were already being built or already in place. But just as we talked in the beginning, how people don't realize digital marketing is just, online sales or what a person does in person or over the phone, you're doing over the internet. It was the same approach to when we were building funnels and advertising products for, Grant Cardone. People respond to different things. And that's proven throughout history. Look at with Toyota. They have a Toyota, and they have 3 different models you can buy that have the Bow system, the sunroof, the this, and then what else do they have? They have the Lexus, the same car, Toyota Lexus, the same car, but one person wants to buy it for $20,000 and the other person wants to buy it for $80,000. And that's what people miss. People, I always hear well, what if someone finds out that the same product is $40 and I'm selling it for $80? Well, what's the difference with cars? You can go buy it's a personal choice. Some people think that something of value needs to cost X amount of money, and some people think of this is a value, this needs to cost this price, and those are your 2 different audiences. So if you're only creating one funnel or one lead gen system, you're only catering to one audience. Some high level executive that we're trying to sell a book to sees that book free, and you just pay shipping. Well, they're like, that book is probably garbage. But if I hit them with a full price funnel and they're like, wow, they're not only they charge me $19.99, but I also have to pay shipping, it's of more value to them at that point because there's no discounts, there's no coupon codes, there's nothing applied to that, and they're more prone to buy it. And that's the thing is, at the end of the day, people want to launch one funnel with one set of ads and make $1 million. And it's just laziness at the end of the day because they could make $1 million a lot faster if they just built those different streams of income for that one product.
So what I'm hearing, what I'm taking away from that, guys, if I might jump in here, is that for anyone listening who has an e-commerce product or even just regular type of product, and they're looking at, this is an AdHero podcast, advertising, they're looking at all the different ways that they can get the word out about that. What I hear Chris advocating is there is no, what do we call that? Like a magic one single silver bullet thing, right? Like you really have to be present and active in a multitude of things. And even to your point, your particular product, don't look at it one-sided. Maybe try to look at it from multiple facets and have different elements of it speaking to some buyers who might be high-end customers. We certainly get a lot of phone calls from big, huge brands, and I know from 10 years of experience that when those brands call in, they're gonna be turned off if we tell them it's only like, oh, $100. It's like it's almost like they expect it to be several $100,000, and if it's not several $100,000, then they just think, oh, then that must not be for me. It's not expensive enough. It's not luxurious enough. It's not for me. So is that kind of what you're saying in terms of that? Like if you're out there and you have a product to sell, look at multiple channels in terms of the funnel system. We'll put in the show notes where people can learn more about that. But just thinking about it different ways.
It's also the reason why we took out billboards. Like people think billboards are out of date. They're traditional marketing. They don't work. That's a different audience that you're catering to. That's a more established audience who grew up in that area where you had massive brands like Nike taking out massive billboard campaigns, or you have massive alcohol brands that are doing that. Like when I grew up and I looked at billboards, I was like, wow, that company must have a lot of money. They must be doing really good to take a billboard out on a major highway. It's the exact same thing. We're spending, $4 million in advertising through Facebook, Instagram, and Google and LinkedIn ads and YouTube, and then we're spending $1 million in outdoor advertising because we understand that there's a certain audience that caters to, and people completely forget that. Not only does it cater to that audience, but at the core of everything you're doing, you're building a brand or you're building a company, and that's what this younger generation doesn't understand is there's a legacy moves that companies do. And the biggest legacy move that a company can do is take out traditional marketing tactics like radio, like TV, like billboard advertisements that are only going to further their brand and separate them from other people. Nice. And then as they build familiarity in the marketplace, they hit them with ads from new marketing like Facebook ads and Instagram that now kind of component and bring it all together. And I think that's what's missing from these young, digital advertisers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Delgado has not been compensated for those amazing statements.
Can I just say something real quick? You mentioned about traditional forms of advertising, and it's so true. And I have actually dated back outdoor advertising all the way to the Roman Empire. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It just goes back to the fundamentals of marketing that I think people forget. And if you look at why people advertise where they advertise, where it started in newspaper, why? Because that's where all the eyes were. That's where everyone read. That's where things were getting delivered to. Then you look to radio. You got to advertise on radio. Why? Because that's where the generation shifted, and they were listening, getting their news and getting their product. Then it switched to television. Why? Because that was the newest thing that people were watching, and companies were able to get. It had eyeballs. So and then billboards. After that point, and then now digital marketing is so hot. And influencer marketing is so hot. Why? Because you have 1 billion people on social media platforms. You have eyeballs on those channels, and that's where companies want to go. They want to go. There's no secret behind it. It's like, where are the people on right now the most? Social media. So let's advertise there. So it's like if people understood the fundamentals of marketing and not just like, hey, I run an ad and I'm a digital marketer. If they understood the fundamentals of marketing, they would be more effective in what they're trying to do.
Well, speaking, and we're gonna wrap this up fairly soon because we've definitely taken a good chunk of your evening. Thank you. Really quickly about the influencer side, because we had harped previously on the idea of influencer marketing, and we're on one side of the fence looking in, right? And our perspective was kind of like, well, influencer marketing might have reached kind of that tipping point towards its end. But I mean, dude, your insight is so high. I mean, what is your current perspective on the whole influencer marketing thing?
And for our listeners, by the way, we dropped Chris's name. I think that was episode 4.
Episode 3.
Episode 3 of Influencer Marketing. We bring up the fact that we just got off the phone. I got off the phone with him earlier, and I got all this wealth of information. And so we said we are going to bring him on. So just for those that are following along, the AdHero, it's almost like a well, we have to have you one more time, then you believe the Chris trilogy. But anyways, Chris, drop it on us. What do you think about influencer marketing now, 2019?
I mean, just like anything else, things change. So influencer marketing 5 years ago, when no one was doing it, there was no algorithms, there was no nothing. People would post and they'd be highly effective because they're reaching a bigger and broader audience, and people are making money. And this goes back to, again, understanding and being a true digital marketer is, what is Facebook's best feature? Everyone says it. What is Facebook's best? Retargeting. Everyone talks about retargeting. So I equate this analogy to, did you guys see the new Godzilla movie?
No, I did not. I saw the news about Spider-Man.
Man, I'm about to ruin it for you guys.
It's okay, you know what? I stand by the Matthew Broderick version. You can go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, so a little bit different, but basically, Facebook's best feature is retargeting. Why? Because they know these are active buyers, these are people interested in your product, these are people who have visited your site, so they're more prone to buy your product. So influencer marketing has changed so much, just between all the algorithms, just between Instagram doing their thing. So I equate it to, if you saw the last Godzilla movie, towards the middle of the movie, Godzilla dies. They drop a bomb on him, they suck all the oxygen out. He doesn't die, but he goes into hibernation. And the way to revive him is they understand that Godzilla feeds off radiation. That's how he gets his energy. So what do? They go and drop a nuke on Godzilla so he can soak up all the radiation. And at the end, he reawakes. He goes from blue to red because he has all that, he has all that radiation, all that heat, all that fire inside of him, and he just destroys every monster that is attacking him. And that's exactly what has happened with influencer marketing. Facebook wants you to pay into their platform, so you have to be able to drop a nuke on your ads in order to do that. And the way to do that is if you utilize an influencer to drive an absorbent amount of traffic to your site, and they're the nuke, and they're dropping all that traffic to your site, and you utilize your ads, not the front end of what the influencers are doing, but the back end, and you drive all that traffic to your site, you now have dropped a nuke on all your retargeting ad campaigns, because now you're showing them who your audience is, who's interested in your product, who wants to buy your product, and now your ads can be more effective when they're retargeting those people and serving those people ads. And that's where influencer marketing has gone. It has become part of the marketing campaign, and not just the marketing campaign that was 5-6 years ago. And that's where people are failing, that's where companies are failing at, is instead of using it as a nuke to warm up Facebook's best feature and cheapest feature to further their sales, they only run it to their website without that campaign set up, and they fail in sales every time because things have changed and they just haven't seen it or don't have enough foresight to know that's the best way to utilize it.
Man, that is some high level stuff.
Mic drop.
Yep, dude, if you guys are just tuning in, we're near the end of the episode, and you should probably hit the rewind button because, Chris, you've been an extreme wealth of information, man. I know, man. It's one of those things. You're in Miami, right? Miami, was it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if I want to go to Miami, but can we meet up in Vegas?
Absolutely, 100%.
Alright.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to turn this into a trilogy, man. I think having you on multiple times would be awesome if that's something you're up for. But thank you for joining us today, dude, and sharing all that information. I mean, I kind of had a direction I wanted to go, but you can't cage a guy like you into one lane. There's just no way.
Chris, real fast, man. We got to cut out, but just drop the audience that's not watching on the screen. Where can people connect with you? They want to learn more. They want to get in touch. They want to say hello. Where can they find you at?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram a lot. It's where I connect with a lot of my businesses and friends. So at Mr. Mr. Chris Delgado, ChrisDelgado, at Mr. Chris Delgado. just hit the follow button and shoot me a message if you have any questions. Now, I don't know how long it takes you guys to put this podcast up, but usually what I do from the launch date and then up to 2 weeks after, any calls or text messages or DMs I answer for free if you want me to get on a live Zoom call and help you with your company, with your brand, with your product. I do that for free. So if anyone, whoever's listening and anyone needs help in their business, please take advantage of that.
Yeah, I rippled it out super fast, so. Man, well, that is awesome. Thank you again so much, Chris. Thank you for joining us, man. I'm tickled pink over here, so. I look forward to talking with you later on. I know we definitely have a few more things to discuss, and I'm going to have so many more questions for you down the road. But this is me, your host, Eric Rivers, along with my compatriots,
Matthew Livieri
and Gio Giovanni.
Yep, we're all signing off, man. Thank you again, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Next episode of AdHero.
Right on. See ya.